Well, if you're just joining us, I'm just playing around. Found some interesting things on the radar, and you guys may have noticed it before too. We've got these blobs that you see on clear air radar at night. Now, these are ships out at sea, big ships. Let's see if we can identify this one. Looks to be if you're up late like I am, something to do. Just watch the radar. And these are the ships on the left side. It's amazing the amount of actual live information you can get into nowadays. You can see all the planes and all the big ships and all that stuff live if you know where to go to look for it. Looks like maybe one of these big ships with radar, or a very tall ship. But you can identify all these little dudes here at marinetraffic.com. It's pretty interesting. Even on the rivers, it's pretty wild. Let me pull up the marine traffic side here. Even all the way up in the rivers. So you've got way up the Delaware River, ships can get pretty far, and then there's sections where they're trapped inside, but the big ships can get really far up in the Delaware River, up into Philadelphia. And you can see all kinds of cool stuff there. From small boats that have the tracking system on them, and they're hooked up to power, and you'll be able to see them sitting there, and then the big ships that are docking, and this Robert McAllister boat gets everywhere. This is one of the tugs. Oh yeah, Patricia, so if you're there, you know all about it. You've seen this boat many times. The Robert McAllister is one of the main boats that works our area, both far up the Delaware. I've seen it in New York. I've seen it cross at the C&D Canal, and I've seen it come all the way down into Baltimore, and that was one of the big ships involved in pulling that company was the one that pulled the Dally out to sea and got rid of it once it was finally leaving port after it took out the bridge, and heavily involved in the bridge work as well. So you see them down our way all the time. But so I don't know if you know this, but on the radar, on the weather radar apps, if you've got like Radar Scope, Radar Omega are the two main. Radar Scope is probably the best. You can see these boats at night sometimes. They call this a beaming effect. And when we've got a layer in the atmosphere that's got the high pressure, low pressure difference, they call it a cap. And that can cause a lot of weird effects, like holding the fog down, making smoke stay low to the ground when the pressure is really high. But what happens is the cap and the high pressure can cause these radar beams to bounce off of the up underneath of it at a low altitude. So this is Dover's radar coming right out of Dover, and it's going up and bouncing off of the atmospheric conversion layer and then it's picking up these big ships as they're traveling up. And I did the math on this earlier. It's going about 7 miles per hour up the coast. So a lot of times you can see them really well. And then there's places out on the bays where they call it anchorage points. And that's where all the big ships anchor to sit and wait, take their turns going in and out of the port. Sometimes you can even see the bridge. The bridges show up. All kinds of crazy stuff shows up. I'm not seeing much else. But sometimes you can even see swarms of insects. You can see birds and bugs. They're all asleep right now, but right at sunrise, as soon as that sun comes over the horizon, you'll see the birds all take off at the same time and create roost rings. It's pretty wild. I'll show you what that looks like. So here is roost rings on the NEXRAD radar. This is out in west, but this happens a lot here too. And right now it's migrating period. So as the sun comes over the horizon, and you can see a lot of this is around state parks on this map, and with Chesapeake Bay right here and all that wildlife refuge and wetlands. It's really bad around here too. We get big rings like this. In Arizona, they could see bats coming out of the caves at night. I mean, in the morning and at night. All kinds of crazy stuff shows up on the radar that you would never suspect. People tend to flip out thinking it's NEXRAD, but causing them pain, but it's not really. It's just interesting radar artifacts that people had no idea what they are. But once you understand radar, it's interesting to be able to see that stuff around here live. I'm not seeing much else on the radar. That must have been a very big ship to show up. But something to look for. I'm just kind of recording this because it was there and it's hard to catch, so I wanted to make a video about it. And just waiting for something else to show up. The conditions have to be just right. But sometimes it's thousands of boats that you can see when it's beaming really good like that. But that one's a pretty good. It comes and goes, but you can see it pretty good as it's traveling up the right there. There it is. Right there. As it puts along, you can see the time frame on the bottom of the radar. 30 frames I took. It traveled 17 miles. Excuse me. So that was about 7 miles per hour. Oh yeah, I've played at Schaefer's before with bands. That's a good spot to watch. Right there with a little shack they built for bands to play in. It's a good little spot to sit and eat and watch the big ships go by. Let's look and see what's out there right now. There's a couple sailboats coming up now. A pleasure boat at 7.5 knots and at 5.3 knots sailboat putting up the C&D right now. I don't see much else. I've tried to find a webcam. I don't know if anybody has a permanent mounted webcam like they do for the Port of Baltimore, but that might, if you're there or you know somebody that's there, that's a really good way to generate extra money. They could, if they're right by the water like that on the C&D Canal, all they have to do is put up one of these Wyze cams like I use for $30 and aim it at the water so they can see the boats go by, and then make a live stream channel 24/7 for it, and people will flock to it, and you can generate a lot of money off of that. So if you know somebody that's got a spot like that along the C&D Canal, they should be setting that up. You could make $1,000, $1,500 extra a month off of that. There's one of those tugs now. Excuse me, that's one of the tugs from the same group that helped out with the Bay Bridge. And then if you look out here where the C&D dumps out, it's called an anchorage point, and they've got a big marker out there, and then you'll see ships out there all the time. Some of them are anchored, some of them are moving. There's a very big cargo ship now. Work boats. Yeah, drones are cool too, but if you put that permanent camera up, people can go online and look at it all the time 24/7, and then stick a chat on there, which is something I want to do eventually, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. The Port of Baltimore cam. Remember when the bridge collapsed, I was watching that camera. They had just put that camera up a month or two before, and Baltimore Shipwatchers group runs it. I display it all the time. Here we go. They've got it zoomed in. For the night they lock it, and they put it on different things. But that's the Port of Baltimore cam that caught the Bay Bridge. We're looking underneath the Bay Bridge right there, the ramp that's left. But if we back it up into daytime, you know, they're looking at all that. I'm not sure what they're looking at there, but what is that mess? It must be one of the big ships in the area for the weekend that they got zoomed in on it. Now I'm curious. So we'll go to the traffic, marinetraffic.com, And then we'll zoom out and move over to Baltimore Inner Harbor and see what that is. Excuse me. Spirit of Baltimore. It must be back further here. Sugar ship. That's the big one. Maybe they're up here. Some of these ships are monstrous. The Gilliland Logistics Naval Vessel. And then the Gordon. They're always there. Those are the two that you see at the tunnel. There's the Isabel McAllister. It's funny, they're all named after their kids and family members. The Bridget McAllister, that was the one that was definitely heavily involved in the work with the Dolly and the collapse. And the Vicky. And then over here at Lehigh Cement, big bulk carrier, big orange ship, the tall ship Peacemaker. I bet that's what they're looking at. Yeah, that's got to be it right there. So that's just by Under Armour, Port Covington. That's up in there where the Tidewater is. So, tall ship Peacemaker. It's an interesting ship. Never lets me move it. Wow, I didn't know that was in town. That's cool. Take the kids to see a big sailing pirate ship. Let me fix my screen so you can see it. It's gorgeous. Now let's pull it back up on the camera. And there's the masts. Looks like it's up in there. And all this other mess going on here, what's all that about? I don't remember any of that being there. They're building stuff so fast at the Port of Baltimore, you almost can't recognize it. There's the McAllister boat right there at the bottom of the screen. I am losing my voice. Ugh. But yeah, this boat is in there somewhere. I thought I had the proper view, but that's live right now. But usually they're zoomed out more and you can see all the ships in the harbor and as they come in and go out. I think the Summit Bridge has some cameras where you can catch the boats coming in and out of the C&D Canal. It used to be. Yeah, that's something that people really like, that if I lived there I would be doing, that's for sure. Maybe this is it. I thought there was one camera at least. That's Northeast River. I think there may be one in Delaware City. St. George's Bridge. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. If one exists, I'll find it. Too far away. Something's going on at the St. George's Bridge. Construction. Wow, they super zoomed it. That was cool. Delaware cameras will whip around. Zoom in and zoom out. Whip in, whip out. Delaware cameras are crazy. Is there one on the Chesapeake City Bridge? I've never been able to find it. A link to it. That's what I've been looking for. Schaefer's on the other side there. I'll have to find that one and add it to my list. It's not an easy one to find, apparently, or it's down a lot. Well, anyway. Let's see what else we can find on the radar. That one was really showing up pretty bright for a while. This is only from 11:30 to now. Let's try Fort Dix radar. We usually get some good beaming at night. Any of the coastal radars that are low to the surface of the water pick up all kinds of crazy stuff, especially around the outside edges. There's some returns coming in there. And you get those bounces back. It's picking up the coastline and some of the ships in the Delaware Bay. A group of ships right there. Long Island. They usually get some good beaming this time of night. Oh yeah, you can see ships going in the harbor. New York. See that? It's pretty cool. Big ships going in. And then you can go into marine traffic and pull them up and see which ones they are. They usually have to be pretty big to show up. They started to pick that guy up that we were getting this guy. It's a really big ship because we were starting to see it come from Delaware north on the Delaware radar, and then you started to see it on the Long Island radar. It's crazy. Find another radar. Like, I think Richmond's does alright. I mean, no, not Richmond, but Newport News. But if they have active radar on, like when it's foggy out, sometimes they show up like huge. That's actually rain. Myrtle. I know that Myrtle Beach picks up a lot. Try Myrtle Beach radar. There's too much stuff on the radar. It won't really pick it up. All you need is a $30 Wyze V4. That's what I use for my cameras. I'll pull it up and show you. It's basically $30 for the camera, and then 20 bucks for a decent card, memory card to put in it. You know, or 10 bucks. It doesn't have to be a big card. And then that's how my cameras are. I'll show you exactly what it is. This is Let me pull up the window for you real quick. I did not pull it. There it is. So you just go to Wyze right here, and they have these at Home Depot sometimes, or Amazon cheap. But they're only about 30 bucks brand new. They make a bunch of different versions, but the V4 is the one that you want. It's the best. And it has good color night vision. That's what I caught the auroras with. And I'll show you mine right now. You can go online. This is live outside right now, my place. Oops. Even though it's pitch black out there, and they look kind of green when it's really, you know, dark, but, well, the moon is out, but they have good resolution. That flashing light right there in the distance, that's kind of only go down 5 miles from me, and then you get that set up and working and mounted where it's going to be protected from the weather pretty good. It's the best thing to do. And then you can have set it up with an IP address for a 24/7 streaming channel, and there's instructions on how you do it, but it's pretty simple. Just watch a couple videos, and it's not really like complicated. You just put in you copy your IP address from your internet address service for that camera, because it'll have its own IP address, just like every other device in your home. And you get that, copy that, and you put it into the browser of the live stream channel that you're going to use. And then people can see it 24/7. Some people put up some high-end cameras, but I get just as good a video as they do. You know, I just can't zoom or control it, you know, move it around upon request, but you get it tuned in to where it looks good. Like this one right here, it's just above the roof line of the neighbors, and it's got a little bit of a fisheye to it, but it's amazing what they can see. But those are the two I have storm cams. One faces west, where the storms come from most of the time, and then this is the Aurora cam on the left. And it's really nice because they have AI automation and all that. It's worth it just for security alone, to be able to see what's going on around you. I have about 7 more of them, but I don't put those online. I have to protect my identity still, unfortunately. I had a court date coming up this month. The idiot's trying to get out. The idiot that shot me, trying to claim that his free lawyer, public defender, didn't tell him stuff because he was so high on drugs out of his mind. He didn't realize what he was signing or what he was doing it. But just basically, you want to put these cameras so that they, you know, you just got to play with them a little bit. But they have an app on the phone that you can pull up, so while you're standing right there, you can see what's going on and tweak them a little bit. They have a magnetic base and screw slots, and then they have adjustable bases, so you can move them around real easy manually. And then I can tweak. There is one that has motorized controls, but do not buy it. It's junk. It breaks instantly. The only ones that are worth a crap are these V4 camera. This one right here. But I mean, this is complete darkness out here, and you can see all these details just from the moonlight. And then I don't know if you ever saw my Aurora cam shots when we were watching for the Auroras, and these are the same cameras. And once the color shows up for the Aurora, it's bright. It looks greenish like night vision now, but it's actually just because that's the actual color of the light that's out there, because it's so dark. But in pitch black, you can still make out all the stuff out in the yard here. And this is probably 300 to 500 yards away, these trees here. This tree here is almost a quarter of a mile away. And this neighborhood behind me is like at least an eighth of a mile, quarter of a mile. So it's got a good field of view the way it's adjusted and set up. Perfect for all of that. This is street light on this side. I clicked on it, but it's going to refresh. But they work pretty well. I've had them for years. You cannot get a better camera for $30. Oh, you can see the red flashing. This red and white flash up here. Let me zoom it in a little more for you. Make the screen bigger. So in pitch black darkness, you can see all that stuff. Here we go. So this camera is looking, it's Conowingo Dam 5 miles to the north of me, right there. And this red glow, red flashing light on this side here is 10 miles away at the Maryland-PA border. Right here. That's the power plant up there. So this is basically Conowingo Dam and the lights that are on top of it across the Susquehanna River, Susquehanna State Park, all through here. And then I'm down by 155 and 161. So if you're that close to the water, you'll get good detail with this. This truck and stuff over here, and this barn is a couple hundred yards away. And you can almost read the tags on that truck when it's there. So if people are walking around here and stuff in the dark, in the middle of the night, it picks them right up. Excellent security cam. I'll show you my front cam. Here's my front porch cam. And the street light lights it up. The microphone is picking up my headphones. And then I have a super zoom, one of their long zoom cameras set on my driveway, so it records tags very well, even if they just pull in and then pull back out. And deer across the street. So that's the long range zoom at the end of the driveway. And then down here is a field that you can see everything. And my mailbox is right there, which I knocked it when I was out there earlier. So the long zoom, if you want to really get close in on the boats, you might want to get one of those later, but I would just start with the V4 because the detail is so good you can see everything. That's what I recorded those. Did you see those Aurora shots that I took back in September and October? Yeah, it was the same camera. So the night vision is amazing. And actually, through my account on X, I was talking to the Aurora people up in Alaska that run the Aurora Watchers thing, and they saw that video that I took down here and were amazed and asked me what cameras I was using, and ended up they're putting them up now because they were blown away with that video. So it was like maybe 3 weeks ago they messaged me about that. There's a wicked storm. Big old gust front coming off of it. Putting out some hail. Big hail. And rotation. Probably had a tornado in it right there. See, the NWS is missing stuff at night because they don't have any staff. It's an obvious tornado right there that they just missed. When you get that hook like that on top of a storm, that's bad. They've missed more tornadoes this year than they have in 30 years because of this crap going on. It's starting to really worry me. I think Donald Trump might try to privatize this permanently and get rid of the NWS, and then we're going to be in trouble. Alright, well, I'm going to hop off here unless you got any more questions. You can always just message me. I'm always up all night long. Not much going on around the country right now. Oh, this is Cyclone Port webcams. Ocean City webcams are pretty cool to look at night. Empty boardwalk. I've always worked nights, so for 20 years, so it's like stuck in my brain, nocturnal. Especially doing live sound for bands. Usually work like 7 or 8, come in 6 or 7 or 8 to a bar, and then run sound, lights, 4 sets, and then get done at 2 and pack up and go home, get home by 5 or 6 in the morning. There's Ryan Hall, y'all's page. The Cyclone Port is a weather station and camera tied together. A lot of people have them across the U.S. Look at them all. All these weird dots. A lot of colleges do them. So there's another resource for you for webcams. I like to cruise webcams at night. When I do live testing, I'll usually put up a couple of cool ones. Let's check them right now. The 3 I like to do the most are Times Square, New York City, the White House, DC, because you can see the people out front being weird, and then New Orleans. Bourbon Street can. It's pretty cool. The balcony view is better. There's New Orleans. Not a lot going on this time of night. And EarthCam is a good, if you're going to set one of those cameras up, EarthCam is probably the best to set that up with, or Stream Time Live, the two most popular. Live shot up there in New York City. Always makes me wonder, who are these people? And how do they have the money to be out there doing that in the middle of the week on a random weeknight? There's always people out there. I guess it's probably weddings, and a lot of it is, especially New Orleans. people that are partying after or before a wedding. I used to do a lot of big money weddings. I did a bunch of weddings up in top of the Chesapeake Inn. And one time we did a wedding that was so expensive there, everybody came in their boats. And the catering bill was over 10 grand alone. I couldn't believe it. It was probably a $500,000 wedding. After all said and done, with when you're paying for people to pull their boats into the Chesapeake Inn and dock for the night, and all around the other marinas. They were going to do it at the park, but it was raining, so we used the upstairs of the Chesapeake Inn, which is beautiful. And thank God they had a service elevator to get speakers and stuff up there. But I know all the best kept secrets for wedding venues in the area. Probably, this was probably 15 years ago. At least. It was back when I worked for the government, so probably 2008, 2007. I don't remember where they were from. I did another $1 million wedding down at St. Mary's College, right on the shore of St. Mary's College. Oh, you were there. It was the band was called Walk-Ins Welcome Country Band, and the lead singer was the guy that was on the radio for 103.7 WXUY, Tyler Daniel. So if you were there for that, you would have remembered that. It was a crazy day. Maybe 2010. Closer to 2012, maybe. I'm not sure. I can't remember exactly. I did a lot of crazy marina gigs. When I was a sound guy with WXUY, I had the country band Parmalee, and we put them on a crab boat and pulled them out in the marina 100 feet out, and they played live on the marina, in the marina boat, and I set my PA system up around the parking lot of the marina. It was over on Galena, on the other side of the bay, down by you, but further south on 301. And that was a crazy night. Had 100,000 people there probably, jammed in that parking lot. Seriously, it was easily over 3,000, 4,000 people. Yeah, I used to be the sound guy for Tyler's band, Walk-Ins Welcome, when they got big and famous. We were doing like 100 shows a year, twice a weekend at least, every day. Sometimes we did 2 or 3 shows a weekend. It was crazy. We did the Bel Air Parade for 4th of July. I took a small PA system and put it on the back of a pickup truck, and then put the band on a trailer, a flatbed trailer behind the truck, and we towed it through Bel Air during the 4th of July while they played live. It was crazy. I'm just starting to get back into that stuff now. hard to do from a wheelchair though. But I got no choice. Man, that storm looks bad. Yeah, the Granary. Probably were you at that show? That shit was a nightmare. It was fun though. I did all WXUI shows. Scotty McCreery for Christmas in the Country, Bucky Covington, Colt Ford, all those guys. That was all me doing sound. At the Parmalee show, people were like trying to push my speakers into the water and stuff. It was crazy. Everybody was ripped out of their minds. A typical country show. I had Gloriana up here in Bel Air at the Bel Air Lodge while she, the lead singer, the girl, was under death threats by some crazy stalker, and Harford County Sheriffs came out and stood arm to arm to get her to the building from the bus. We made an aisle for her to go up, shoulder to shoulder police. It was crazy. They thought for sure the guy was going to come because he was like out of New Jersey or something. WXUI has new owners now. That's why I don't work with them anymore. And I helped them build that and design that studio down there in Havre de Grace next to their broadcasting station. And they don't do stuff out anymore. They don't have bands come in anymore. They don't let people win anything anymore, it seems like. It's totally different owners and a lot different company now. I don't even know if Tyler still works for them or not. I haven't seen Tyler in years. After COVID, everything shut down and everything changed. 2 years of lockdown in the live sound business was devastating. Completely changed everything. But yeah, all those crazy shows, that was me for WXUI. We did, I can't even think of half of them. Ripken Stadium, we did a bunch. University of Delaware, live on the basketball court. Country Dodge up there in Oxford, PA. We did a bunch of shows up there. Had Daniel Bradbury up there right after The Voice. Maddie and Tay at Plaza Ford. We had the band Perry in Aberdeen. And then the millions and millions of gigs we did with Walk-Ins Welcome. That was crazy. But him and Sandy had kids, and then that was the end of that. And Paul, the guitarist, he had kids too. But I still see Mikey, the drummer, all the time and work with his bands. And I prefer rock anyway, but for live sound. We used to do the Rendezvous Inn in Perryville, and that place was crazy until it burned down. I also did a lot of other bands there, like Hailstorm, before they got big. They used to play at Perryville, Rendezvous Inn. go to the worst one I ever did for WXUI was at Rising Sun Pharmacy. They had that washed up, I can't remember his name. It was a washed up pop star who tried to go to country, and he had a one-hit wonder for pop, and then he had a one-hit wonder for country. And he was a horrible, horrible guy. Just mean, yelling at me over the microphone. And it was like 100 degrees, and it was on the pavement. It was so hot. Nobody could think straight. But yeah, all those I did. Brett Eldridge, Maddie and Tay, Gloriana, Carmelie, Van Perry, Scotty McCreery, Bucky Covington, Colt Ford, Steve Holy. We did a lot at the Wellwood too, which one of my other favorite places to do sound. And $1 Million Weddings in there too, a couple. Who else? I can't even think of half of them. It all blends together after a while. But I'm gonna try to get walking again here as soon as possible, and try to start going back to doing live sound during the day or at nights. My alarm is going off. I better get off here. Got something I gotta take care of. It was good talking to you. Have a good night.